Welcome back to the podcast. Today, Daniel, I want to talk about something that genuinely confuses almost every English learner who comes to Britain.
Oh, I'm intrigued. What's the mystery word?
The word sorry.
Sorry?
Exactly, because British people say it constantly, all the time, in situations where it makes absolutely no sense to apologize at all.
That is so true. I remember someone told me once that a British person will actually say sorry if you step on their foot.
Yes, you step on their foot and they apologize to you as if it was their fault for having a foot in the way.
Which is completely irrational when you think about it.
Completely irrational, but also completely normal in Britain. And for English learners, this is genuinely confusing because you learn that sorry means I apologize, I did something wrong, I feel bad about it. But in British English, sorry does so much more than that.
So what else does it do? Give us the lowdown.
Well, there are at least 5 completely different ways British people use sorry, and they all mean something different.
5 different meanings from one little word. Brilliant.
The first is the obvious one, a genuine apology. I am sorry I was late. I'm sorry I forgot your birthday. That's the sorry everyone knows.
Fine. Makes sense. No surprises there.
The second is what I call the softener. You use sorry before you say something that might be uncomfortable or direct, like, sorry, could I just squeeze past? Or, sorry, I think that is actually my seat. Or, sorry, I disagree with you on that.
So in that context, the sorry isn't an apology at all. It's more like, excuse me, or even please.
Exactly. It's a social lubricant. It smooths the interaction before anything potentially difficult is said.
Social lubricant. That's such a good phrase for it.
The third use is sorry as a question. When a British person says, sorry, with a rising intonation, they usually mean, I didn't hear you, could you repeat that? It's the equivalent of pardon or what did you say?
And if you're not expecting it, you might spend a moment trying to work out what on earth they're apologizing for.
Exactly. You look confused, they look confused, nobody is sure what's happening.
What's the fourth?
The fourth is sorry as a way of expressing mild frustration or disagreement, but politely. If someone gives you the wrong order in a restaurant, you might say, sorry, I actually asked for the pasta. You're not sorry at all.
Right, but saying it that way means you're complaining without sounding like you're complaining, which is very British.
Very British indeed, because British culture has a deep discomfort with direct confrontation. You don't want to seem difficult or demanding, so you wrap your complaint in a sorry and suddenly it sounds almost polite.
And the fifth, I'm on the edge of my seat.
The fifth is what I think is the most fascinating one. Sorry as pure reflex. It's not connected to any conscious thought at all. Someone bumps into you. Sorry. A door closes in your face. Sorry. A pigeon flies too close to your head. Sorry.
It just comes out before the brain has even processed what happened. It's like a verbal tic at that point.
It really is. And this is the one that confuses people the most because there's no logic to it. It's just something that comes out. It's so deeply embedded in British social behavior that it happens automatically.
So why is British culture like this? Where does all this sorry come from?
That's such a good question. I think British culture places enormous value on not causing inconvenience to other people. There's a deep cultural fear of being a nuisance, of taking up too much space, of being too loud or too demanding.
So sorry is a preemptive apology for existing in the same space as someone else? That sounds quite sad when you put it like that.
It does a bit, but it's also quite considerate in a way. It comes from a genuine desire not to bother people. The problem is, it's become so automatic that it's lost most of its original meaning.
So when a British person says sorry, they might not mean sorry at all.
Often not. And this creates a genuine problem for people learning English, because you might hear sorry and assume the person is genuinely apologizing for something. You might even feel obliged to say, that's okay, don't worry about it, when actually they were just asking you to pass the salt.
So how do you know which sorry is which? How do you decode it?
Context and intonation. A genuine sorry is usually slower, softer, and often accompanied by eye contact and a slight wince. A reflex sorry is fast, almost throwaway. It barely even sounds like a full word sometimes.
And a softener sorry is said quickly at the beginning of a sentence, before the real content. And a question sorry goes up at the end. Sorry? Like a question mark in the air.
Exactly. You have to listen to how it's said, not just what is said. The word is the same, everything else, the speed, the pitch, the body language, tells you what it actually means.
Is there an equivalent in other languages? Do other cultures have a word that does this much work?
Most languages have a softening word or phrase, but the British sorry is quite unique in how automatically and constantly it's used. Researchers have actually studied this. British people say sorry significantly more often than speakers of almost any other variety of English.
That's amazing. I bet American English is much more direct.
Much more. Americans tend to say excuse me where a British person would say sorry, and excuse me feels more neutral. It doesn't carry that slightly self-deprecating quality that sorry has.
Self-deprecating, meaning making yourself seem smaller or less important than you are.
Yes, and that self-deprecation is very characteristic of British communication style generally. Not just sorry, it shows up in the way British people respond to compliments too. If you tell a British person their presentation was excellent, they'll almost certainly say, "Oh, it was nothing really," or "I could have done it much better."
Accepting a compliment directly feels uncomfortable. Minimizing yourself feels safer, which is fascinating but also a bit exhausting.
It can be, though I think younger generations in Britain are actually moving away from this slightly. There's more directness now, especially in cities, especially among people who have grown up in more multicultural environments where the old social codes are less fixed.
So sorry might actually be becoming less frequent, or just evolving?
Possibly evolving, which is what language always does. So what's the takeaway for our listeners today?
A few things. First, if a British person says sorry to you, do not automatically assume they've done something wrong. Think about the context.
Second, you can absolutely use sorry as a softener in British English. It's genuinely useful and it will make you sound more natural. Sorry, could I just ask you something? Sorry, I think there might be a mistake here. These work really well.
Third, if you find yourself in Britain and someone apologizes to you for something that was clearly your fault, just say not at all or don't worry about it. It keeps the social contract intact.
And if a pigeon flies too close to your head?
Say sorry to the pigeon. It is the British thing to do.
Our question for listeners today, does your language or culture have a word that works like the British sorry? Something that means more than just an apology?
We would love to know. Leave a comment on our YouTube channel or find us at EnglishUnfoldedUK.com. There's a workbook for this episode in the description with the full transcript, vocabulary, and exercises.
Thank you for listening to English Unfolded UK. Keep learning, keep growing.
See you next time.
Bye for now.
Bye.